welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today I thought I would film a video on plant-based eating. If you don't know, then I do follow a plant-based diet, which you probably would know if you've seen, especially my most recent What I Eat in a Day videos. But if not, then I do follow a plant-based diet, so I thought I would share with you some of the reasons why I started, what I've noticed since I've started, and how to start a plant-based diet if you're interested in it or trying to eat more plant-based foods and sort of up your fruit and veg intake and fresh foods in your diet as well. I decided to go fully plant-based in September when I came to uni. Before that, I did start to eat more of a plant-based diet. I was still having some meat every now and again. Being in a family home where we've always eaten meat, we'd kind of compromise a bit, so some nights a week we'd have veggie based meals, other nights we'd have meat to kind of just keep everyone happy. But for my breakfast and lunches I would keep it plant-based, and that's how it's been really over the sort of last year. But then once I did come to uni in September last year, September 2018, I did fully go plant-based. So I wanted to share with you my journey so far over this sort of last half a year. So I'm first of all going to start with some of the reasons why I chose to start eating more plant-based and started to show greater interest in it. And the main reason initially for me was health. Over the last year or two, I've become particularly interested in sort of health and fitness and really just creating a healthy lifestyle and eating a clean, balanced diet. And I'd seen so much about plant-based diet and how great it can be for you. It's even been proven to reverse things such as diabetes, which I just think is incredible. Not that I am diabetic, so I wouldn't need to go on it for that reason, but I just saw how many amazing health benefits there were from it. So that really encouraged me to want to try it out and see how I got along with it. And then since starting as well and learning more and more about it, I did start to think more about animal welfare as well. There's some amazing documentaries out there such as What the Health, Cowspiracy, which really do pinpoint and highlight some of the key things that happen behind the scenes that you think you might be getting away with when you're buying free range or other products which are essentially associated with better animal welfare but maybe aren't as great as you think. And that really started to make me think more about that side of eating more plant-based as well and the benefits it has for animals and their well-being. And then more and more recently I've also started to look into more the sort of climate change side of things and the amazing benefits to the planet of eating a plant-based diet. I think even if everyone just changed to eating a plant-based diet one day a week, we could already massively reduce emissions. I don't know the exact figures on this, but an amazing place to start if you want to learn more about this is on the Deliciously Ella podcast. She did an episode all about this and I found it super fascinating to find out loads of things and all the benefits of eating a plant-based diet for our planet and about how it massively reduces water consumption as well as our CO2 emissions and overall can just have a really great impact, especially when climate change is a growing problem and something that we really need to address if we want to avoid potential disasters in the future. So that has really interested me as well recently. So they're kind of like my top 3 reasons as to why I started and why I've kept going with it in a way. And so since starting, I thought I would also share with you some of the things that I've noticed and things that I've found since going plant-based. So one of the first things that I have noticed is that I do feel I have more energy and that I'm a lot less sluggish and tired all the time. I definitely used to regularly get energy dips in the afternoon like a lot of people do, but I used to get it really badly and my energy would not sort of last throughout the day. Whereas now, don't get me wrong, every now and again I still get energy dips in the afternoon or I feel like I might want to nap some days, but that's just natural, that's just part of being human. Everyone has those days where you're more tired than others. But overall I've definitely noticed a massive improvement in my energy levels, which has been amazing for me. Also, another thing that I've noticed quite recently, I started thinking about the last time I actually got fully sick or ill, and I can't actually remember, and I really think that could be something to do with eating a plant-based diet. I've had a bit of a blocked nose or a bit of a cold, or I've had a sort of sore throat which has been a bit dry or tense for a couple of days over the winter period. That's kind of normal, but it's never even then developed into a full-blown cold where I'm constantly having to blow my nose, or I couldn't talk fully for days on end, which usually does happen during the winter period, especially at uni at the start of the year. So many people get freshers flu over winter, so many people get the flu again or get really bad colds, and then also now at this time of year when we're transitioning into spring, a lot of people are getting ill again. But I've never fully got like the full thing. I've only ever just sort of got what you'd see as the start of it, but it never develops into anything. And I really do think that by having a plant-based diet, because I'm eating so much more fresh veg and fruit all the time, it's really helped up my mineral and vitamin content, which I really think has helped to ward off any kind of illnesses. It might not be related, but it just seems very strange to me that since going fully plant-based and eating initially even more plant-based before fully transitioning, I actually just can't remember when I was last physically sick or just felt really awful and not being able to do anything. So it kind of seems like the two are related, and I really do think that it holds something to it. So if you're someone who's got a weakened immune system, or you often find yourself getting sick, even if you don't follow a fully plant-based diet, definitely I can recommend upping your fruit and veg intake, because it seems to have worked wonders for me, and I've seemed to, so far, touch wood, avoided as much of colds and flus and things that have gone around as I can. Also, another thing that I found since going plant-based, which I absolutely love, is that it's made me experiment more in the kitchen and also try loads of new things. There's definitely a lot of things in my diet now that, one, I might not have even heard of, two, definitely would have never even tried before, and three, just, yeah, wouldn't have even considered or ever thought about. And there's certain things that I cook now as well that I never would have thought of cooking, or pairing certain things together. It's really let out my sort of creative side in the kitchen, especially with baking as well, where you're having to use loads of baking substitutes. And not only that, but as I do stick to more of a plant-based whole foods kind of diet, creating healthier alternatives as well, using complete whole food natural ingredients. And I honestly love it, because I've always loved baking since younger, and then more recently I have really enjoyed cooking as well. For a couple of years now I've really enjoyed cooking, but that has really made my passion for cooking and baking even more exciting and even more interesting. So again, if you want to experiment more in the kitchen, find out some plant-based recipes, or find out some typical sort of plant-based ingredients that often sort of meat consumers, or if you are in that world of consuming not so much a plant-based diet, you might never come across. Try exploring into some of the common ones that are in a plant-based diet, and you may be surprised and discover something new that you really like, and it also just gets that creative spark going, which I absolutely love. So now finally moving on to some tips of how to start. This is if you're wanting to fully go plant-based, or if you're considering it. This might just give you some motivation or some ideas of what to do if you do want to give a plant-based diet a go. My first tip would be to take it easy at the start and maybe just try it out for a day or two a week and just see how you go. Or just even set a day where you're going to try eating fully plant-based for that day and then see how you feel after that. Sometimes if you try to fully go from eating sort of a meat-based diet and less plant-based foods to going full on, it can be a bit of a shock for yourself, but not only yourself, for your body as well and your whole digestive system, as you're probably going to be upping your fibre intake by a lot, and you're going to be having a lot more foods that it's not used to digesting all the time. So it's not only for you and your own sort of mental purposes of getting your head around what foods to have, what you can have, what you can't have, what you want to have, but also for your body to adjust as well. So just gradually build on it, and that way you can slowly start to discover some recipes, because at first you may be daunted by what to do and what to choose. So that way you can start to experiment a bit, see what kind of plant-based foods you do like, see what you would want to include in your diet, and just kind of slowly build on it from there. And that way as well, you're more likely to then stick to it rather than going full-blown into it, not really sure if you're going to like it or not, and then if you end up just not having a great experience with it after the first 4 or 5 days of trying it, then you may not go for it. But if you do it a couple of days a week, you probably won't even realise that you're having it for those days, and also you won't miss the old things that you're having because they're still technically in your diet for that time being. And then gradually just increase the number of days that you eat plant-based per week until you feel comfortable with going fully plant-based. I think that way, like I said, for your mind and your body, it's the best way to sort of get around it and transition into fully plant-based eating. So my next tip kind of ties in with that, and that is to look up loads of recipes if you're feeling a bit stuck and don't know where to start. It definitely can be daunting if you're used to having a typical meat diet where you have a piece of meat or some kind of meat on your plate with some veg and some carbs. That's what sort of a typical meal kind of looks like. And if that is your typical meal, then if you suddenly remove the meat and you're just left with the veg and the carbs, it can seem a bit lacking and you can seem like you're missing something and you don't really know where to go from it, and you're not going to find it that filling or maybe not that enjoyable either. So definitely get a good range of recipes that you want to try, so that will get you excited for trying it, it'll encourage you to make those recipes, and it'll help you if you're feeling lost and give you some ideas of the different foods that are out there that you can try. So definitely use things like Instagram. There's so many food Instagram accounts out there. That's what's really inspired me and given me some great ideas as well. I do also have my own food Instagram, so I will link it down below if you want some recipes. I post baking, breakfast, lunch, dinner ideas, so it's all kind of a mix of everything on there. And also at the start I used to use Pinterest a lot. I have so many recipes pinned on my Pinterest pin boards for all different vegan plant-based recipes, and that was definitely one of my favourite places to use for researching recipes to begin with. I used to just spend hours on there looking through recipes, so Pinterest is actually an amazing place for recipe inspo as well. And then when you start to feel more comfortable, you can start to combine ideas together for things that you've discovered or trying out new flavours and get experimenting yourself in the kitchen as well. And even if it turns out to be a disaster, it's fun to just try and create something new and get creative. Then my final tip, which I kind of touched on a little bit earlier with trying new things, but it's also to make sure that you try a wide variety of things as well as trying new things, even if you think it's something that you might not like. If you've never fully tried it or it's been years since you last had it, your taste buds do change. There's a lot of things I like now which I never would have eaten as a kid, and honestly if I avoided all the foods that I never liked as a kid, I would be eating a lot less variety than I do now. So try and challenge yourself, try something new, try something you maybe didn't used to like, try something that you've never had before, and just get really creative with new flavours as well as keeping a wide variety. And this way it won't get boring, you won't find yourself doing the same recipes on repeat. Unless you're someone who likes routine and the same kind of things on a weekly basis, then that's fine. But if you're someone who to sort of stick to it, you want to be inspired and have loads of new things to try, then buy a big variety of stuff every week. Maybe when you go to the supermarket each week, challenge yourself to try and find a new vegetable or piece of fruit or something that you don't have on a regular basis to try and create something with, or something tinned as well, like different beans. There's so many kinds of beans out there which you can get creative with, as well as things like lentils, chickpeas, all the kind of pulses. And you can maybe just start that way as well to keep it interesting, just challenging yourself on a weekly basis to find a new recipe and to try out something new will just really help you stay excited for it and keep you interested in what you're eating. And it will also that way make sure that you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, because you'll be creating amazing tasting food that you won't even be thinking about what you're not having. So that was a kind of my sum up of plant-based eating in terms of my own experience, and also how to start if you are wanting to try a more plant-based diet. I really do hope that you found this video useful and helpful to you. Be sure to smash a big thumbs up if you did. Also let me know down below in the comments if you have currently tried going more plant-based, or if you're thinking about it, and if you think you'll use some of these tips. I'd love to know. And also be sure to click on that little red subscribe button down below, as I do upload every Wednesday and Sunday at 4 PM UK time. And don't forget there's also that notifications bell that you can tap on so that you're notified whenever I upload. And I'll be sure to see you very soon with a brand new video. Bye!